see.
No.
Because men, you go out there telling women nobody is like me, nobody. See what I mama for you, you know, long, you fair your bed for me. What's my cool or not doing your long one she?
No, I just believe in being helpful. That's all.
No, you're not being helpful.
You're not helping anybody. Helping yourself.
You're not being helpful. Listen, there is something.
You're not helping anybody.
The help
is your house where you live.
The help that providing. The help you're providing.
You're not helping anybody. Helping yourself.
There is a cycle.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna set up my camera. I was just listening to a TikTok live, and wow, more people are struggling out there. People are struggling. Let me grab my earphones. Hang in there. We have a live session. Let me let the backstage know. I am live. Let's play some music. How's that? Let's get started with some music. Here you go. Ginger, hit the like button. The way we go there.
Celebrate.
All right. Enough. Welcome back, Baby Wings. Good to see you. Welcome back. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We have a fantastic show lined up today. We're gonna have a good time. Today is gonna be, I don't know. We're just gonna have fun, okay? Let's just do that, shall we? Welcome. Happy Sunday to you. If you're still celebrating Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to you. Welcome. The cold reality. We're gonna talk about the cold reality. Babies said, don't stop it, Ke. I'm sorry. We have to get to the show. I see Chinye. Happy Sunday, Chinye. I see Chidima. Happy Sunday. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I appreciate you for being here. Hit the like button. I have a conversation that I want to have today. So I happen to be away. I am all the way in the middle of nowhere in Florida. So, I do some work here and there, touch on a few things, but I actually don't have work today. So I'm just laying around. So it's no family around, no family time, nothing like that. So I was like, you know what? I should be resting. But what if I'm resting and I'm hanging out with the Prestige family? Isn't that going to be a better experience? But then I was thinking about that much earlier on. So I jumped on TikTok. I listened to a few basketballs on TikTok. And I'm like, after I listened to a few things, I definitely have to go live. Because the way you guys are dragging yourself on this social media, I'll try my best. I'll do my own bit. I don't know if I can help, but I will try my best, okay? So I'll just donate my own little quota here on Men of Prestige, and then you can do, hopefully it will be of value to you, all right? So speaking of, this is an example. This is an auntie on TikTok. I don't know why I'm calling her auntie, but I guess she's an auntie. She looks like she could be my auntie, but no disrespect. Her name is George Reese. I'm going to unmute a little bit of this. We'll play a little bit of this. Can you guys hear? Let me know if you can hear that. Could you hear that? Let me know if you can hear it. I'll just play a little bit and I'll talk. Can you hear that? They're still live. All right, so I will translate. Sorry, I will translate, okay? They're speaking a lot of Yoruba. Chinye, you can hear it, right? Okay. I will do translation, but this is stuff that we need to talk about. It's just sounds like a bunch of aunties, and they're looking for any opportunity to engage conversations about relationships. The lady in front of a green screen, like right there, she's George Reese. I was just hearing earlier on, you said it on a public platform, so no big deal. She has, she's a polygamist, something like that. I don't know, something like that. As in, like, she's not going to be with one person and she's okay with that, and she doesn't care about marriage. And there's no crime to that. But the reality is that they're talking about everything marriage.
You feel you
That's
should
the
earn more
reality.
than
And a
your
lot of
wife,
people that come
and
there,
so that
men
you
and
can
women,
subject her to do
a
whatever
lot of
you
Yoruba,
want.
they're speaking a
She
lot of
will
Yoruba,
want her
they're
to do.
speaking, Now, before this particular show, right, there was another guy that I follow. His name is X. This guy, I'll go back to that auntie in a second. This guy right here, his name is X. Okay, again, these are people with huge followership, so I'm not exposing anything. Okay, X School of Life. He posts a lot of relationship stuff. You can see this title says "Top Reasons for Divorce Today." Let me make it a little bigger so you can see. Top reasons for divorce today. I'm giving you a story of why this title came about. Okay, top reasons for divorce today. Your standard may be why you are single. What will you bring to the table? Common mistakes men make in marriage. Women don't marry for love. Love is not enough. Women rarely forgive. Happy Mother's Day. That's a sweet one, right? Funny enough, I'm looking at the numbers on that one. That has 5,000. That's almost half of what he typically gets in his views. Okay, a lot of the people in his audience are women. Let me just let you know that, hands on right now. A lot of the men that comes to his platform are just there to jerk themselves off. It sounds like they feel like a man, so they like a lot of this rhetoric. So I'm sorry. I'm looking for a better way to say that. I should be nicer. Ola, be nicer. Okay. Anyway, you can see that women barely engaged the one where he was saying Happy Mother's Day. That should tell you something. Okay. Another one say you are a misogynist, narcissist, chauvinist. Okay. So you know he's trying to get somebody's attention with that. Avoid aggressive masculine men. Okay. So tough being a man in 2025. Why men are running from you. What are you getting so far from this Titus so far? Tell me, what do you get? Chinye, tell me, Chinye, Chidima, tell me what are you getting so far from this title? What is the first thing that comes to mind? It's okay. Just tell me. Another one says a husband versus a married man. Another one says, are you a wife or a married woman? Okay. What I can tell you is that his platform and his rhetoric attract lots of women. Okay. In terms of attracting for conversation purposes, in terms of as a platform, okay? I'm not talking about romantic, just attraction, okay? His platform, this titles attract a lot of women and they're engaging the conversation. The man is not head of the family. Marriage is no partnership. Monogamy is a choice. Polygamy is nature. These are fantastic titles that I can steal from it and refurbish it and use it probably better. Shout out to X. I like X. X is very nice to me when I go to his platform. All right. I disagree with X, I think about 70% of the time. I'm not sure. But once I do this reaction today, maybe I'll do about 10 reactions to some of these short videos. And then I'll do the numbers, see how much I disagree with him. Because he says some things that make sense. Oftentimes, if you engage him, if a woman, let me say, when the women engage him, or a man that tends to say, wait, why are you saying all that kind of stuff? If you engage him, he will start jabbering all type of stuff that I 100% most of the time I disagree with. When he's doing like a lecture 101, he tends to say things that I might agree with. Depends. Okay, so today we'll find out. So this is X. I'm introducing you to X. You could go find him on TikTok, and some of the conversations he's having over there, we might end up having some of those conversations here. Chinye said the first thing that comes to Chinye, you're not nice. I said we should be nice. It's Sunday. Chinye, it's Sunday. It's Sunday. I didn't go to church, but it's Sunday. Okay, be nice. What do you mean, Panda? Kilo me by Panda. Hit the like button. Hit the like button as you're coming in, please. I appreciate you. All right, so this basketball that's going on right now, I think we should listen to it. This one, and let's see if I can give you some context on this auntie. Her name, she's called Reese Cat Olu Bodun, I guess. Reese Cat Tolu Dun. Okay. They call her George Reese. Okay, that's George Reese, relationship. So let's listen a little bit to it, and then let me hear what you guys think. He said, I'm not talking about pride. He says, somebody I've married for a long time, would I not know their behavior? Let's just try. I'll give you just. All right. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on. I'm going to refresh, guys. I'm going to refresh. All right, since we can't hear it right now, let's leave it that way. Let me hear it and do translation, okay? They're speaking Yoruba. There's a lady talking to a guy called a professor. All right, so the lady is talking, so I'm translating now. This is what she's saying. She said, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't answer it. Don't answer the question inside of yourself. He said, not that I understand. Exactly. He said, answer this question inside of yourself. Okay. Let me refresh. I'll be back. Here we go. We're back.
It's to our always best interest.
Okay.
Into aviation industry for the past 20
The man you're listening to is a Shalaya. It's an explainer.
But I don't want to go because of my wife and my children. gbogbo àwọn àbúrò mi abroad ni gbogbo wọn wà but I waited wọ́n sọ pé àṣẹ torí ìyàwó tí wọ́n gbé kárí.
Professor.
ẹni sùúrù.
His name is Professor on TikTok. Okay, hit the like button. We're gonna talk. Don't worry. He keeps talking. I'll tell you what in a second. He's explaining. He said any man that has interest of his wife, that's a
I can never
husband.
take any decision without not put her interest.
Okay.
Professor.
All right. So let me give you guys the gist. Okay. He just said any man that has the interest of his wife is a husband. Okay, he's just talking, right? Let's just talk. That's just a speech. Anybody can say the right thing. In fact, anybody can do the right thing. Because a broken clock is right at least twice a day. Right? So what happened was that earlier on, I was on that show. I was on the stage. So I was there, and at first there was a story of a guy. A guy came up there to tell a story to the ladies. It's a ladies platform.
Motivational speaker.
But a lot of men come up there, and because she's very friendly, so she welcome men to talk. But when you say the wrong thing, she will check you, right? So the man came up there and said there was a guy that the police, the wife just called the police on him, and he said we should be open to ironing issues out amongst ourselves. Why do we have to call the police? So of course, all the ladies on that platform, they attacked him. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean we should be open? You know me, it's very simple. Call the police. If you don't feel safe, just call the police. No, it's not about a woman, even if you're a man. Okay, and I encourage men to do that more so because they believe that statement to the core when they say, hey, we should be able to iron things out between ourselves. Men believe that all the way. Even if they're in the middle of a woman who is committing the worst against them, hitting their head and stuff like that, they're thinking they should iron it out. Say like, this person is a violent person, they should sleep in jail for at least 3 days, and then we can iron it out if we do come back. And if we don't come back, it's okay. It's not do or die, right? And I'm saying that as a person that's been married for 18 years. So I do champion marriage, right? So this man came up there to tell the story. So as he was telling the story, he was also defending the man. So what happened? He said, okay, the man slapped the woman. So she called the police. And then he's there to tell the story. And then he now has this caveat saying we should be able to iron things out on our own.
It's not latest.
And they now ask him, what did he do? He slapped her. Okay, but are you trying to justify slapping a woman? He said, no, of course not. I don't support. This is what men do. Men, listen to me carefully. This is what you do. I don't support domestic violence. I don't support. It should be a period at that point. That kind of statement should be a period at the end of it. Right? But you know what most Nigerian men do? Nigerian men, and of course a lot of black men too, just in general. You know what they do? They don't put a period at the end of I don't support domestic violence. They put a semicolon. That means pause. Wait, I didn't finish my point. But a big old but, right? But what? But at that point when you say but, you trigger anybody that has been on the receiving end, anybody that will empathize with the person that's been on the receiving end of domestic violence, you will trigger them. And you know the worst part about all of that? They act surprised that why are they triggered? And I'm like, wait, why are they triggered?
21 years.
Oh, there you have it. That's the problem. You're completely disconnected from reality. You're living in a la-la land, a fantasy land, and you expect that people are just zombies walking around. So that's the story. So that guy, they attacked that man. His name was Lord or something like that.
21 years.
What I'm getting from the title is Kevin Samuel. Okay. Yes. I can work with that, right? Not Panda like Chinye. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so they were tackling that guy, and so this professor guy that's still talking. Let me see if he's still talking. Let's see if he's still talking.
All about the money.
Okay, so what that person just said is this guy was praising himself. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. This
right?
Professor Kai came on the stage and
If
was
you watch
trying
us here,
to
we are
chime in. He was
always
trying to be
about
the
empowering people, making
he
them
was trying to be the
independent
voice of
and
reasoning.
everything. Gbogbo àwa táwa ń
between
sọ̀rọ̀ bí báyìí, ó ní nǹkan tá a ṣe
The
ń
man
sọ̀rọ̀.
who is justifying
Mi
domestic
ò mọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe
violence
eré ìsọmọ
and
yín o.
the
But
women
ṣe
who
eré mi
are
tẹ́ ń wò yìí,
defensive.
àwọn
Like,
doctors
what do you
wọ́n lè
mean? She
change
should
tire,
call the
wọ́n máa
police,
bọ́ sí
right?
abẹ́ mọ́tò, wọ́n á change
Before I
tire.
move too far, right?
I raised
They
them to
asked
be
the man who
independent.
is telling the story, who is trying to justify
help
the man.
ìyàwó yín,
They
ẹ̀yin
asked
ṣe bí
him, they
ọmọ,
said,
bí
okay,
ọmọ.
wait.
That's your wife.
What
Anything
did
that
she
they-
do
anything-
that?
ṣé
Because he
ẹ̀yin mọ̀
said,
pé ìyàwó
well,
mi
these
àtọmọ
women,
ẹ̀,
once you
wọ́n
bring
máa ń ṣe
them
ohun nínú ilé,
abroad,
wọ́n dẹ̀
they
ń make
don't
ohun nílé.
listen
Táwọn èèyàn máa
any
kọ́ nílé wa.
longer. They just don't listen. They
Bàbá
don't
wí
listen.
ló bọ̀dá
They
ṣe
are
wọ́n
acting
different,
like
wọ́n different.
they have a
Sọ,
husband
èmi
at
gan
home
ṣe
and all this.
irú nǹkan
So these women, they were gracious enough. They were not nice. I'll be honest with you. They were not exactly nice. They were tackling him,
Professor
right?
Otole sọ,
But
owó
it's
ìyá
a stage. It's TikTok. They don't have to
Oh,
be nice to you for your mouth. So
No,
they were saying, okay, what
no.
did she do? They were gracious enough to pause and say, what did she do? And that's when she said, okay, they didn't say like specifically what did she do. So for example, if a woman is going to sit on the phone for 1 hour, she sat on the phone for 1 hour talking to a friend somewhere, and then the kids are coming off the bus and she's not taking care of the kids. And everybody was like, wait, why don't you take care of the kids? Of course. Bro, so why don't you take care of the kids? They will change the conversation.
Bro.
You're giving them opportunity to change the
Gade
conversation. You just give them opportunity to change the conversation. So of course, that didn't pan out well. But then I think I came in late. Earlier on, somebody was repeating what he said. I think he was justifying, saying that, well, it must have been that the woman is cheating. The way they said it in Yoruba is Onyale. Onyale has a little bit of slightly different from cheating. I think it's the same thing, I'm not sure. But when you say a woman is cheating, the woman is seeing other people outside of the husband. They're not faithful. In Yoruba, we say Onyale. So they said he suggested that the woman must have been seeing other people. And there's another one. Or she has friends. Two things. Men, I'm telling you right now, there's a pattern here. These are the things you tend to say. Okay, these are the things you tend to say, and there's a pattern here, and it looks like men have a meeting somewhere, and they decided we're going to say all these things. There's a big problem here.
Voice of the customer. The lady
So it looks like this woman is cheating, and she's basically just moving around with bad company, bad
they are trying to
influence,
pass
bad
to you
friends.
what they believe from a woman's perspective.
All those
may be
rhetoric
going
I
through your
delivered
mind,
right there,
woman's mind.
those are the kind of
you
things
need to
that
take into
controlling men will
consideration.
tend to say.
So, for example,
It is not
they
the
are
words
saying-
that make it
you
controlling.
saying
They are
that they do
telltale
something in the
signs
house.
that
They
you
make hair in the
struggle with
house.
active
You,
listening, that
it's
you
like it's
struggle
what the
with
interpretation you are
how
giving to them, that you
relationship
are
work
setting a
in this
boundary
time and
of the
age.
kind of
You might even justify your point of view by
self-determination that
saying,
the
"Hey,
woman can
let's go
have.
back to our mother's
What if
day."
she
And
wants to
then
do
you
any
know what
other
women
thing?
will tell you?
Have
They'll tell you, "Why don't
have
you go
there
and marry
been
your mother?"
a
And
time
then
where
again,
she
you will
said,
act like
"This
you're
is what I want
surprised
to
that
do."
they said it. These are
And
issues.
it does not
Anyway,
side with you and you say, okay, go and do it.
That's what we're dealing with. These are the
And
kind of
let
things
her
we're dealing
be
with today. So stay
what
with me.
they're saying
Chindima says,
independent.
what I'm getting
What
from
they're trying to let
is
you
Kevin
know is,
Samuels, okay,
yes,
but has
you are doing
negated whatever
what you
the
are
hell
supposed to
he
do
said
as
before.
a man.
Yes,
But
you know
the
why?
woman
Because
may
he's doing
appreciate it
Shalaye.
more if she
I'll get
is
back to the professor. The first
self-actualized.
person I talked about, his
What
name
you
is
want
Lord.
in a marriage
That's the one that was
is
justifying domestic violence.
interdependence, which
So
is
professor is trying to say, you should never do that.
Sorry, Kikida, okay, you know,
Women should not allow such a thing and stuff like that. And I can sometimes hear. So when you go to the extreme other end of the conversation,
my husband is
when you're now trying to appease
around,
or
available,
pander
maybe one of your
to
aviation
the women in the room,
for like 2-3 years,
it tends to go
Shame
left
only
too.
Duro
Okay. It tends to
As
go
a
left because
fully
oftentimes
independent woman,
that's not what
I know
women
how
are
the
asking for.
finances
Women
are
are not asking
going.
you to
I
become
know
a
what to
woman. That's
invest
not
in.
what they're
I know what
asking
to
for.
do this. I
They
know
might not be able
if
to
your
put it
woman
into words
is not
exactly,
there, at that
but
point
they're
when
not
she can
asking you
stand
to become a
gidigba,
woman, and they don't owe you to
then
explain to
you have
you
work to
what they're
do
trying to
because
say. You
that's
might
what they're
just be
trying to say.
confused as a man, right?
If you say you're
But
doing
Professor
anything,
was just
what
there,
you should
was
be able
just
to
trying to
do
explain
is that your
and
woman
just
should
doing
be
shalaye,
arrived to
just
the
trying
point where
to
she,
correct
as
the
you are a
other
king,
guy.
she's a
See,
queen
when I
in
see
her
those
own
kind of
full right.
stages, 9 out of
In
10
her
times
own
I
full
don't go on
right.
that kind of stage.
Not
I
a
don't go
queen
there
in the
to
way you
defend
want her to be a queen.
the
In
women.
her own
I
full
just
right.
listen to the
Some
conversation
women,
and listen
they are
out for
born
insights.
to be
I don't go there to support the men
home
either
care.
because
So women are not born to
honestly,
be home
oftentimes
care.
I'm
But the woman should
disagreeing
be
with
in
them
her own
100%.
state of mind.
But I'm
to
not
say,
going to
it's
jump
not
on
because
there
my
and story
husband
my
told me
brothers.
to do that.
Somebody
I'm doing
calls
it.
it brotherhood.
This is what I
Welcome
want
to
to
the
do.
real world. Yes, I do
And
brotherhood.
I'm doing it.
Okay,
And whether
I just
or
don't
not
think it's
I am-
necessary.
I'm
I think the
making money,
conversation is
feel
much more
alive
necessary than
as
my
a
correction.
person, individual person
All right.
first.
So
Before
I
husband or
see
wife
we're
of
having a
Mr.
conversation here
Professor.
right now. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the like button. Thank you. Let's
not
bring
the
the
one,
other
Mr.
people into
Professor.
the room. See, I'm committed.
I
I
am
did 5 hours live stream yesterday.
Who I am,
I'm here today.
Madam this,
I'm
who
already
happens to be
26 minutes in.
Ìyàwó
God forbid.
Professor
5 hours.
this.
No, God
That
forbid.
is what.
Let
That
me
is the
fat already
point that
jump
they're
the
trying
link
to
right
see.
now.
They are not saying
I'm
what
not
you have
gonna
done
do
is wrong.
We're not
They are
gonna do
saying,
it. You know,
look at
if
it,
I have to talk more
not
than
from
1
your
hour by
lens, from
myself,
her
it's not
lens.
gonna happen.
If she
Forget
was
that
to
thing.
tell you
Okay.
from her
So I
heart
dropped
to
the
heart
link.
what she wants to
All right, so
do,
this professor
and
guy,
that
you
thing
know,
she wants to
he's
do.
the
I'm not
panda
saying she's
bear
a
in the
woman.
room. He
I'm
was
I'm
basically
believing you. She's
just
a woman of integrity. Blah blah blah. We're not talking
what's the
about
word that they always
talking of
use
a woman who just wants to
when men don't
be
want to listen to other
fully
men?
actualized. If you are not in the
What's the
picture,
word
what
that
will
they
she
called
have
me
done
other
with her
times?
life?
What's the other word?
Can she
Panda
come
bear
to you and tell you
pandering.
this
Yeah,
is
I
what
guess
she wants
pandering.
to
Yeah,
do?
same thing. He
She
was
can't.
basically
Then you
there
have what to
pandering,
do. That's what
and
the
then he
ladies are
made
trying
one
to let you
statement.
in.
He said,
They're not saying
"Well,
you are
like for
bad. Please,
example,
that's
me and
not.
my wife,
Don't think so.
me
You
and
don't
my
have to
wife
defend.
said we
What
have
you
a
have done,
joint
you've told
account,
us. I don't think it's wrong.
right?
You have done it from a
And
man's perspective. The
and the
women are
ladies already
saying,
be like,
look at it
you have a
from
joint
our
account. By the
perspective.
way, the ladies
Is your
they don't
woman
really fall for
able
it. They can
to
see
come to
through
you
it.
with her full chest
They
and
might not
say,
be able to put it
"Uncle,
into words, but they know
if not
when you're
because
doing
of you, this
bullshit."
is what I want to be. If
So
I
he
was
said
not
we have a
married to this, is
joint
what I would
account,
think my
and
life
then
would
my
have turned
wife
out
the other
to."
day came to ask me
And if you don't
so that
like
she
what
can
you're
buy
hearing,
coins,
can you still allow her be that?
TikTok coins.
Yeah, if you can
You know the
allow her be
tokens
that,
that they
then you have
gift
got
each
to
other
what's
on
called the
TikTok. You know,
empowerment
pop
that
my
they are
lion,
talking
all
about.
that stuff,
That's
right?
what I'm that's
I
what I'm
got my
trying to
first 2 lions
uh,
yesterday. I'm like, whoa, this is fun. So since
that's
yesterday,
what
I've
I want to
actually
say.
engaged
Thank you
quite a
so
bit
much.
more than I
Kikida,
normally do on TikTok.
be glad
And
tidings
gain
here.
some
Please let me
followers
translate
by just
to
engaging
Yoruba.
people.
You know, say
But
my English
anyway,
now.
so he said my wife came
Bogolo,
and
thank
asked
you. I
for, and people
understood
like
you. Well
people,
understood.
what
Thank
the
you.
women here heard was, I don't know if he used that same exact word, but what they heard
You are
was
right, my brother.
the wife is coming to him to ask for
Thank you,
permission.
Bogu.
So in the chat,
Oh,
me I
thank
did
you.
inside the chat. I said,
Wọ́n ti
Professor,
ṣe communication wá ti
Professor,
wá yé
rest.
yín sáré. Ó ti
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
yé dáadáa, Professor.
Because I could just smell this is
What's
about
the
to
name?
go
Okay,
left.
ẹ lọ
This
ṣiṣẹ́
was
lórí ẹ̀.
about
I love
90
yín.
minutes
Ẹ mọ̀
ago.
nǹkan tá a ṣe láàrin
Let's
yín
see
dùn
if
You are
it's
a
still
good
going
man.
no
on.
matter what.
This was about,
Ẹ
Professor
dúró
was
tán.
still talking when I unmuted
Yeah,
earlier
ẹ
on.
dúró
Listen,
tán ẹ dẹ̀
Yes,
ṣe àlàyé.
he's good listener, yeah.
Best for men like you.
it looks like it's
a
calm
good
now a
man.
little bit.
Thank you. The rooms, they were inappropriate. God bless you.
Oh,
No, I will
okay.
never do that. Never.
Okay, he said I
I'll
would
never.
never do that. I said it wasn't inappropriate. He sat down there all the way through and basically explained himself.
He's a good man.
And
Wọ́n
basically
tí
they
wàá
picked him
gbaṣẹ́
apart.
George. Ilé tí wà lójú yín.
What is it? You do?
They picked him apart. Apparently she's at work. They picked him
Office level
apart
lady,
and they
Kaka
basically
did-
called him,
Àti
they called him
bá gbà lọ́wọ́
abusive.
yín, mo
Well, they
like
called all of
it.
them abusive. They
No,
called all of them
èmi lójú
because
mi
then he
kọ́kọ́
went
wà
further
lára
to
rẹ̀.
say quite a few things. He
Oversize
said,
dẹ̀ ló
well,
máa
what
jẹ́
do you
fún
mean
mi.
your wife is coming to
Kárọ̀tì
you
lórí
for permission?
potato.
She doesn't have her own
Àwọn
money. Hold on, before I continue, let me see. But as
Allah, me, my God,
negated
this is
whatever the
shit
hell he
now.
said
Ọlọ́run
before,
má jẹ́
I
iṣẹ́
got
láyé,
Kemi Samuels
iṣẹ́
too, but some of the titles
Tó bá
sounded
há
like
síbẹ̀ báyìí,
panda.
kó tó rẹ́ni wá gba
Okay,
ṣíìtì
all right. We'll
So
get some
Bade,
context
so
on that.
Bade,
Chidima said,
George,
last it's hard to
bẹ́ẹ̀ni yìí
hear
ṣe
your
pẹ́ǹsì.
translation if you are
Kò
playing.
sí
Were you guys hearing it?
anything tó máa ṣe fún wọn.
I think I stopped that a long time ago, right?
Magba wo hours to
Did I? Were you guys hearing it at the same time as mine? I thought I muted it. You should have told me.
Oh yeah, ká sọ nǹkan mi.
Did I mute? I muted them, right? You can't hear them right now, correct? I thought I muted them. You shouldn't be able to hear them right now if I thought I was doing the right thing.
as well.
We can't hear you very well, Lou. So if a woman is eating,
You will yeah.
wait.
You
Oh,
like to be what go
so
matter
it did
is
not
in
mute them. Oh, my bad. So all along, you guys have been hearing them. I thought I muted them. All along, you guys have been hearing them. That is terrible. All right, so wow, you stopped it, but you refreshed, then came back, and you've been hearing it since that refresh. Wow, I didn't know. I didn't mean to. Of course, that wouldn't make any sense. I wasn't trying to translate at the same time. Oh, that's terrible. Come on, speak louder. Speak louder. I dropped the link now. Now it's muted, of course, because I thought it was muted. Because I muted my browser, I thought it should mute it. That's terrible. So you've been hearing the guy do the shalaye all the way till when he calmed down. Did you at least get that part? You heard him do all the shalaye all the way till when he calmed down, right? Yes. Yes. Now, am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Am I muted? Oh, she's behind. Is she behind? Did you guys hear it? We heard them now loud and clear. But did you hear them early on? Did you hear me when I was in the shalaye, my own shalaye? Yeah. Don't worry, we got a show today. We got a show. I'm muted. I'm muted right now. Chiye, am I muted right now? I'll test it myself. I don't believe Chiye. Let's see here. Am I muted? Yeah, I'm not muted. What do you mean? I'm not muted now. Stop! Anyway, you guys are pulling my leg. I'll go away. Anyway, so so the professor guy was just trying a bit too hard. You see, the reality is that on this social media streets, you're going to hear a lot of one-way street conversations. And I understand it because honestly, spelling out all the nuances is super hard. It's very, very difficult. Okay. Oh, you said I'm not muted. Oh, you said I was muted now. I saw you muted. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. A lot of these people, you're going to hear a lot of rhetoric on the internet from men. They will confuse you. So today we're talking about the hard truth about men, and I want to know if you ladies can handle it. Basically, we'll see if you guys can handle it. Okay, whatever truth means. Okay, whatever truth means. Let's look at that topic real quick. Cold reality, the hard truth about men. Ladies, can you handle it? How do we define truth? You guys tell me, how do you define truth? Give me a good definition or your opinion of what the truth is. Let's start from there. I've got some videos I want to react to, but give me your idea of what you think truth is. Okay, give me a good idea of what you think the truth is in the chat. Let's engage, guys. Come on, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. How do you define truth? What is truth to you, right? Because this truth of a thing, you know, the same way we use friendship. You know how you tell people that, hey, we use friendship way too lightly, and maybe we should define what friendship is, right? It's like saying, I see Chinye said the truth about what? It's like, I say, like, if you say friendship, I say, what is a friendship? How would you define friendship? Let's use that concurrently, right? Let's use that concurrently. If somebody say, yeah, I don't have friends though. In fact, you ladies tend to say, I don't have women friends. I prefer to have guy friends. You didn't think it was only you that used to say that, right? Most women actually say that. Most women I have encountered, let me say it that way, I've said on one shape or form, I don't have lady friend. Wala, women too much wala. I prefer guy friend. And then because I'm here so consistent on that, you don't? Oh, okay. So next time when you see me, when we have our event here in New York City and you decide to come and hang out with my wife and I, right? When you say, I don't like keeping women friends, when you see me do, hey, what do you mean? Oh, you'll be saying, Ola, you are doing that. What do you mean with me? No, I actually meant, what do you mean at that point in time? I'm being real. You said the truth about what? Okay, you're all caught up. Shout out to you. You said, I do hear women say that. Listen, I pay attention. I don't think women pay attention to themselves. Just like men too. People generally don't pay attention to themselves. You know, Chidima said, please, let's define a man first before we define truth. Let me do this. Let me define a woman. A woman is a woman, you ask her a question and she's never going to get to the answer. She will attempt to answer by asking you a question. Let me see if I can find an example here. All right. That professor guy, the one that was pandering to those women and then collect what to say, Miss, yeah. See, when you talk too much, you will talk. You know, because he ended up telling those women that his wife has to come and ask permission from him before she can get money to buy TikTok coins. And then in the spirit of trying to explain and appease this woman, get them like, you guys don't understand me. My point is, in just trying to do that over and over, you know what he did? He kept telling on himself. At one point, they now reminded him of some of the story he's told about his woman. On that platform, they talk sexual stuff in Yoruba. So they talk about dido, obìnrin, dido, ko obo, that kind of stuff. That's what they talk about up there. Olawa, you visit such platform, they are all over TikTok. I can't do anything about them. And honestly, I'm entertained a little bit by it because they tend to be a little bit more realistic in how they're speaking Yoruba, so they're saying it as it is, right? After all, we all appreciate honesty. We're going to talk about that, appreciating honesty, today. All right. Yeah. So he ended up telling on himself. So he said his wife has to come and ask him for permission for coin, and then he kept talking and talking. Eventually, they now reminded him that he should remember that one day he told them that his wife calls him daddy. I can't make this shit up. That same guy that we're just listening to right now. They reminded us, and then he was trying to explain or mansplain that one, and I said, "Baba, women don't forget. It's okay if your wife calls you daddy wa, or calls you daddy Damilola. You know, that's not what's wrong with old school. Why are people shying away from being old school? People are starting to call me old school. I'm like, wow, all right, you go do all right. If I'm old school to you, so be it, right? If you don't like it, maybe you too, you won't become old school. That will be a curse. I hope you become old school at some point too. I said, like, I hope you are dagba, like me. If you think I'm so, women don't forget. So they reminded him that he was on the public platform talking about his wife. That once upon a time they asked him that your wife call you daddy ke. What if you are in the middle of knocking? If you are knocking and you're inside Akmekus, is she still calling you daddy or zaddy? They didn't say that part. I'm just adding that. But is she call you daddy? And you know, it's like, oh, he was now trying to do shalaye and change. At that point in time where I know the conversation has changed to something else, it's a good moment to just laugh it off and let it go and let it be. But Baba want to explain. Eventually, he even told Mon and said his wife doesn't drive. They live in Dallas. I don't know his real name, so it's okay. And he was on the public platform saying this. They live in Dallas. The wife don't drive. The wife does not drive. And then he went on and on and on to paint himself to look like the manipulative, controlling guy they were talking about earlier on. The one that slapped his wife that got the police called on him. You see, by the time the police is being called on you, the issues are deeply rooted. Things have been happening that you haven't paid attention to, gentlemen. Just so you know, okay? And these are some of the things we're talking about, right? If you go on a platform somewhere and you don't even listen long enough to know if they will make fun of you, if you say your wife call you daddy wa, and you're just yarning dust in the spirit of trying to advise all these youngins, right? You're probably going to tell on yourself, and you're going to get called out, okay? The same thing is true for me, because I talk a lot here just by having a platform. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. Yes, he told on himself. Chidima says, daddy ke. We don't forget. Women don't forget. They don't forget. Okay. Us, that box, that issue, that day. When we don't, as we said it, whatever we're saying it for, we might be saying it out of emotions. Maybe trying to get a point. Maybe trying to get a candy for saying something in that moment. I might forget exactly how I said it. When you do bring it up like 3 months later, someone like me, I'll be like, yes, I probably said something I don't remember. I will just rest. But when men don't understand women, when men don't understand themselves, even before they try to understand women, of course, they will end up in shalaye. And that's what he ended up in. All right. So, he ended up telling himself. So, and then he kept going on in the chat about how his salary is bigger than his wife 3 times. I don't know what point he was trying to make. Whose salary is bigger between me and my wife? Who wants to know? Who wants to know? Like, why is this a conversation I'm having on a public platform? But you know, it's social media era. Everybody just wants to talk, right? So he kept going on how his the wife's salary is only 1/3 of his, because remember he talked about joint account. So he's trying to justify why they have a joint account. Something that you really, if you're a man, I'm not saying it's not a man, but if you're a manly man, let me say it that way, why would you ever need to justify, if what you run in your household is joint account that your wife is happy about, why would you ever need to justify, shall I hear about that on the internet? Why would I ever need, like, who do I owe that I have to explain that to? Why do I need to explain that? I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I'm trying to get validation from strangers. Terrible. Okay. So he kept going on about the salary is bigger, and then eventually he told on himself and said the wife doesn't drive. And then guess what now happens? Those women, now they won't admit to this, but they ended up dragging the wife. Because you know, women can't stand when a woman is just sitting there, you don't have your own money or your own income, and you're not independent. If you're not independent, ladies, most men that are allowed on the internet, they don't want to hear that. It's triggering. And so who go collect? Not exactly the woman. The woman go collect, but the one who is yanni dust, who is the man, collect, and he collects woto on today. So at some point he stopped, and then he said, wait, I'm going to say this to Yoruba, and then I'll try to translate it into English. Say, as you are looking at me, aye obìnrin ni mo wá o. Aye obìnrin ni mo wá o. That means I come into this world to live for women. That's more of a direct translation, but there might be a better translation. Maybe somebody can help me. But basically, I live for women. I die to take care of women. You're on a woman platform and you're saying that? Why? What do you need to say that for? Ideally, women should be like, oh, Pookie, oh, he's so nice. Let me throw my panties into his DM. He can collect some just one time. Oh, Lord. Oh, they're talking. Let me see if they're saying anything that, let's see. Oh, I have to refresh. Let me refresh.
Sórí social media tó wọ́n sọ pé àwọn ò respect ọkọ wọn, àwọn ò ṣe gbà. But most of them are liars because most of them love their husbands. Tó bá ń ṣe gan, wọn ò ní sọ wípé àwọn ń ṣe.
lọ́wọ́ yín pé kí ni definition respect?
They're arguing about respect now. Just listen. Okay, all right. So, hold on.
Jesus. No. HRM, Mama.
You go explain. Wait now.
Definition respect lọ́dọ̀ yín.
Lọ́dọ̀ tèmi.
What's the definition of respect?
Respect is reciprocal. Ẹ méjèèjì láti respect ara. As a matter of fact, ọkùnrin kọ́ láti respect ìyàwó ẹ̀. Ọkùnrin láti love ìyàwó ẹ̀ ni.
He doesn't mean that.
Láti fún ní everything that she
They're
deserves.
waiting for him to make a mistake.
Both home and out. Now, kí obìnrin wá return, kó wá respect in return.
Obìnrin máa love ọkọ ẹ̀.
Hold on.
Obìnrin máa love ọkọ ẹ̀, kókò respect ẹ̀.
Hold on.
Ẹ má bínú bàdá kí ẹ máa kọ́ sọ. Ibùdó ọkùnrin ẹ bá ṣe ṣìnà. Ó bá wù
ìyẹn kọ́ ni mo sọ.
Wàhálà. Hold on. I'll do translation for you guys. Don't worry.
Ẹni tí nǹkan tẹ̀ sọ nísìnyí pé kí ọkùnrin àti ìyàwó tó bá ń fẹ́ra wọn, ọkọ yẹ.
When a husband and wife are together.
Kí ìyàwó máa love ọkọ.
Ìyàwó máa love ọkọ automatically now.
He said the wife will love the husband automatically.
Ẹ dúró. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n ṣàlàyé fún yín.
Let me do ṣàlàyé.
Ọkùnrin mi ò ṣe ṣìnà. Mo fún ìyàwó mi ní every.
As a man, I'm not cheating. Wait for it. He's already telling you. I'm not cheating.
Everything to deserve.
I'm giving her everything she deserves. Everything. In time. Unless I'm not there.
Listen, automatically.
She will love you.
Respect and love me.
She will love and respect. Okay.
So, you know, the respect that they love well, no.
That's how it started.
Of everything in
No,
All right, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it, okay? But here's what's going on. That man right there, they can detect it. They know is going somewhere, but it's taking like small stops, okay? They know that it's coming there to justify, okay? He said, "I'm not." When somebody leaves with "I'm not cheating," ideally, like, women should be like, "Yay, a non-cheater," right? But oftentimes That's not the case. Why? Is it that women are confused? No, it's because they can hear the bullshit. They can hear the manipulation that's about to come after that. Because if you're not cheating, it's your actions that will basically tell us over a period of time, which means patience will be required in assessing that over a period of time. Okay, but I'll come back to that man. That man is doing shalaye right there, and it doesn't sound like he's not going to collect. Okay, but I'll tell you. So how do you satisfy people? Well, maybe talk a little bit less, but I'll get back to that. Your actions should be speaking louder than your words. So that man, professor, said, my wife does not drive, and then he goes ahead and said he lives for women. Ideally, women should be like, he's here to take care. It is a man that. Now, women will tell you all the time, will say, we want respect, we want respect, we want respect. That is a fact, but I don't think that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, hey, if you come around me and you're a disrespectful person, I will not tolerate it. It's more so of, hey, I've experienced something in the past and I know what disrespect sounds like, and you better have enough to handle me, because when I smell disrespect, I'm not going to tolerate anything that smells like this, even if it's just ordinary a disagreement, right? It's, what do I call disagreement? Because it can escalate, right? A disagreement does escalate to becoming somebody called the police on you. It turns to argument, verbal abuse, emotional abuse. Emotional abuse of that one usually don't tell, like it's been happening long before that. Oftentimes it's coming from the woman's side too, right? But men are not able to say, they're not able to say, I'm being emotionally abused. Why? Because they are macho, they are traditional, they can't be emotional. Men are not emotional, so how can I be emotionally abused? So if they can't even admit to being an emotional being, it's kind of hard for them to say, hey, what's going on? Talk to me. You could talk to me. No, but I'm not going to tolerate. We shouldn't be emotionally abusing each other. Just talk to me. They're not able to say that because they're not even willing to admit that they are emotional beings. The problems are deeply rooted. Is it their fault? It's not relevant. It's something that goes way before. But part of the responsibility of anyone, any leader in a society, any leader of a household, men, part of your responsibility is to understand that we're in a different environment. Always. It's not a thing of now. It's a constant thing. Change is constant. So if we're in 2025, you can't expect that things operate the way it operates in 2015. How do I know? What's the evidence? Because clearly you're complaining. So what are you complaining about? Are you willing to wait to get to the root of the issue? Are you patient for that? Because even Ebenezer always said, "Suru laughing shock bearing." Do you understand what that is? It's patient. Patient. You have to be patient. You have to be patient, right? If you're not patient, there's a good chance you're going to be emotionally abusive. And then obviously that leads to other forms of abuse. Okay, so here's the issue. The guy kept saying, he said, I'm a woman's man. So they're like, you're a woman's man. And they now help him translate it. They said, you calling yourself a woman's man, say basically you don't want this woman to do anything else. The moment she said she wants to do something else outside of what you agreed to in the beginning, you're going to push back hard at it. And if you can't get your way, you say, well, I'm the man in the house, so you should just listen to me. All right. So the whole respect in Yoruba language is a little bit tricky, right? Respect, a good chunk of what we call respect in Yoruba language is actually the words. It's in the language, not the culture. Right? There's respect in culture, right? There's Yoruba culture, but the actual language, a good chunk of how we demonstrate respect in Yoruba is inside of the language. So we might say things like instead of o when I'm referencing the person. Like eba mi gbe kini embe as opposed to joba mi gbe kini embe shoti lo shotide, sheti lo, she eti lo, she etide. I would say to a person that I respect in terms of, not really. I'll say anybody that's older than me. That's what I'm calling respect in that context. The age is what I'm calling respect in that context. So oftentimes that gets very confusing. And I could see the confusion in all of this conversation among Yoruba women when it comes to between them and their husband. You can call your husband because that's just how you guys started. It doesn't mean you can't have a good romantic relationship. It's not relevant. You can make it relevant all you want, because I see some women saying, hey, that's why they're calling you you want them to call you daddy. So suddenly he must be a narcissist. Like, wait, how do we get from one place to the other? I know how, because that person is also responding to their own trauma. It's a trauma response, right? So that's that's also the culture interferes in a lot of this stuff, right? And if you're just gonna say no culture, you're lying to yourself, because culture is constant, right? It's either you're living one culture, you're going to another culture. People will say something, say, Oyibo people don't have culture. I say, Oyibo people have culture. One way you can tell me you're lame is by saying Oyibo people don't have culture. That's a very easy way to tell me that you're lame. Just say Oyibo people don't have culture. Or you say African American people don't have culture. If you say that, I would don't let me say lame. I might take your word with a pinch of salt. I won't take what you say too seriously. Or if you are someone close and I care about, I will listen in more. I need to hear more about what you're saying, because that cannot be what you're trying to say. You must be trying to say something else, something deeper. Okay? If I care. Oftentimes, most of the time, I don't care. So they ask him, and then he said, I help around the house a lot. I don't cheat, right? I don't cheat. That follows with, I helped around the house a lot. In fact, I'm the one that washes our pata. As soon as we're done having sex, I'm the one that takes the pata. We're going to wash it. At this point, ideally, women should be like, good man. And then when women don't say good man, they're confused. And I'm like, oh my God. You're confused? Brotherlies, I'm on your side. I'm just trying to help you, that's all. Just trying to help you, that's all. They get confused. Well, but wait, isn't that what you're supposed to say? So one of the major problems is that they're not willing to admit that they were pandering in that moment. They're not willing to admit it. So if they can't admit it, if they can't acknowledge that, it's hard to fix it. Okay? Because maybe they're not exactly trying to pander, they're just trying to be nice. What do I tell you about Mr. Nice Guys? Mr. Nice Guys are dangerous. They have their own agenda. The worst part about that is that sometimes they don't realize that the agenda is loud. They're like, isn't that what you wanted to hear as a lady? A man who will not cheat, a man who will wash your pata, wash your plates, wash your sink. So what do you think if a man comes to you, ladies, in the chat? Let me get your answer on this one. Hit the like button, please. If a man comes to you and say, I don't cheat, I wash the plates, what will be the next thing you will say to that man? Tell me. Everybody engage in the chat. What would you, if a man is trying to do shalaye, he's just trying to explain himself. Okay, it's your fault because you're pulling his neck. He's trying to explain to you that he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Holy Spirit lives in him. He's a church guy. He's an usher / a keyboardist at the same time, and he also helps the pastor out during the week when your ass is at home sleeping. So this should be automatic good marriage after that. And now you find yourself in basketballs, right? And he's trying to tell you, I don't cheat. I help you wash your pata and the plates around the house. What else do you want from me? What would you say to that? Shout out to the mom of 5. What would you say to that man? What's the next best thing you will say to that man? Ladies, be honest. If you lie, I'll cast you. If you lie, what would you say to that man? He says, I don't cheat. You are in a basketballs. Okay? Just think about the worst basketballs you've ever seen with your husband, your boyfriend or something, right? And then he goes, I have to assume that he's not a cheater. So if he's not a cheater, but he tells, I don't cheat, I help you wash the plate, I help you with the kids, and they say, what else do you want from me? What would you say to him? This is not the time to be holier than thou. This is not the time to say, I'll be intentional, because in that space, you're usually not intentional. It's only on YouTube that you're intentional, and TikTok. What would you say in that moment, knowing fully well you're probably caught up in your own emotions? I'm waiting. I want to see who will tell me the truth here. She said, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to give bombastic side eye. Let's see. Babes will say, all those thoughts are normal things to do at home. So, kind of big deal. Wow. Obìnrin, why? Why? When is it ever going to be enough? That's what you're going to say? That's it?
Obìnrin.
You will say, Oko mi, my husband, Odogu Salesa Parala. You won't say all that before you give me your word of contention. Not at all. You won't be Chidima says, I will say that's not the point. Can you please try to understand where I'm coming from? See, that is such a clean thing to say. You know you're not gonna say any of that. Come on. That's like if a typical man would be like, where you're coming from? Feelings. Is this feelings? Is this feelings? All you care about your feelings. You cannot run a marriage with feelings. Sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up. Sorry. That was a kitty big deal. Kemi, shout out to Kemi. Kemi says there's not much to say because both couples are in the marriage together. Aww. Men are much more confused now. Hit the like button. They are more confused now. I'm confused. My whole self is confused. I'm not confused, but my whole self is confused now. So wait, I clean your pattern. I clean the plates. I take care of the kids for you. I said something that's triggering just now, but I take care of the I take care of the kids for you, and I'm not a cheater. What else do you want from me? Can't you just respect? Give me the one thing that we ask for. What is wrong with the one thing that men ask for? Especially if you're a Yoruba/Igbo man. You know what they said to him? They said somebody was trying to be gracious. All of you are right, by the way. You guys are on the money. Somebody was trying to be gracious with him. They said, okay, let me calm down and drink water. This boss is confused. He thought he was here to help us, Professor, that is. He thought he was here to help us. Not only has he told us that he's the one controlling his woman. How do we know? How do we arrive at that? Because the woman doesn't drive. Why doesn't he drive? So that you can detect so she's not cheating or she's not yali, abi ko-obirinkiri, abi have all kind of bad influence out there. Why is it that she doesn't drive? The women are not listening anymore because I have an example of a person that doesn't drive, and it's none of that. She doesn't want to drive. She's scared shitless to drive. But the women are not hearing that. They didn't want to hear that. They're like, it must be because he's controlling, right? But he put himself in that position, right? But he also told us that the woman has to come and ask permission before they can borrow money to buy coins for TikTok. I want to buy lion so I can pop the lion, pop the money gun for Daddy Freeze. You have to come and ask permission. What do you think a typical man will say if you come to him and say, I want to pop the money gun for Daddy Freeze, right? I want to pop the money gun for Daddy Freeze. Will you allow, we have a joint account. Will you allow me to, how much is money gun? I don't know how much is money gun. How much is it? Like $30, $20, $1,000? I don't know. Money guns sound like big money. I don't know what it is. I have to figure that out because yesterday I got my 2 money guns for the first time. I don't know how much is it. When I did this, you see that, guys? See that? Yeah, I'll do it again now. Anyway, shout out to iPhones. Right? So, if you go to your husband, a typical man, and you say, I want permission. Right? I want the permission so I can pop money guns for Daddy Freeze. What do you think a typical man will say? A typical Odogu Salensa, it doesn't matter if he's broke or not. You married him. That's your broke husband. If he's a typical Odogu Salensa, right? And he said, I want to borrow $20 from our joint account so I can pop money guns for Daddy Freeze. What do you think they will say? Shout out to Gracious Greatness. I see you, brother. Good to see you. Sorry, I thought I said that already. Yeah, I'm confused. I know I'll figure it out though. If he's listening, all those things, the man's list will be long. The woman's list will be longer. Kemi said, if he had to ask for respect, then he's not leading his home correctly. I agree 100%. What more do you want from me? I need to find that bite right now. What was I doing? I should have had that a long time ago. Giving Tyrese. Let me write that down in my notes. Tyrese needs to be helping us here from time to time. Not just Tyrese, Yuel Edochie. Anybody who has come on the internet to tell us their business. Who else? Emeka Ike Masumio. But I should leave Emeka Ike alone because he actually went quiet, and I love that. That tells me that it's at least giving that energy to his family, right? But Tyrese and Yuel Edochie, they can collect. Who else? One of these guys can use them. Anyway, I've been called a Yoruba demon before. I'm like, we've just met, and the lady was reaching, in my honest opinion. Yoruba demon is a compliment. You didn't know that? If you call me Yoruba Dimam, I will take that as a compliment too. That means we're undefeated. That means we're irresistible. That's what that means to me. A typical traditional African man will make exceptions for the likes of Daddy Freeze and VDM, but just don't give it to a pastor. Oh, so borrow me money so I can pop the money gun for VDM. And you think the traditional man will say, yes, we're doing joint accounts. This is joint. There's a reason why we're doing joint account. And you just be like, oh, you want to pop the money gun for VDM? Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Take it, baby. Money, people that tend to pop money gun, they tend to pop money gun from time to time. So next tomorrow, it comes back again and say, babe, I had to pop the money gun for Daddy Freeze today. He said some things that just made so much sense. Right? Give me some money to pop the money gun. Anyway, they asked that man. The women asked, they want woman that was gracious enough. They said, why do you think helping your wife around the house is a big deal? Who was on the money? Somebody said big deal earlier on. Why do you think helping... There are two angles to it. Why do you think helping your wife around the house is a big deal? Well, there's only one source of that question. The source of the question, that question is basically a woman multiplying what a man said. Listen to what I just said carefully. That question doesn't just fall out of the sky. People just don't wake up. Women just don't wake up one day and say, they just don't wake up and say, what is the big deal about you helping around the house? Some kind of conversation was going on that led to that. Right? So, what kind of conversation? Conversations like, I don't cheat. I help you around the house. I clean the plates. I clean your pata. I clean everybody's pata. I do laundry for all of us. What else do you want from me? Right? That kind of conversation is what leads to such sign language. Sorry. See, when I tell me, I say, women multiply. Women are incubators, they multiply. It's what you bring to the table. Stop asking women what they bring to the table. It's a telltale signs that you don't know what you're doing as a man. I'm talking romantic relationships only, okay? If you have to ask her what she brings to the table, you sound like you are confused. You sound like you're confused. You sound like you don't know what you want. You sound like you're going on a date with a person that you're not completely, absolutely sold that this is my wife. That sounds like confusion, brother. Sounds like confusion. Okay. So they ask us, like, why do you think helping your wife around the house is a big deal? But ladies, I'm telling you right now that there's a lot of confusion out there, and you might see a good guy who will ask weird questions, who might say weird things, who might even come off as they're justifying BS. If it sounds like safety issues, escape, leave. Okay. But if it sounds like this guy is just socially awkward, it's weird, the social awkwardness is across the board. A lot of women are struggling with that as well. Somebody now said, if you live alone, would you clean your house or not? Another question. This question is the question we call the question called sign language. Shaming, insult, guilt needs to be right. I like my own version better. Forget all that sign language nonsense. Okay. If your woman is talking to you and she uses languages that includes this type of poisons, shaming, insult, blame, and fault, things that you hear it, you're not sure if she's disrespectful, but you feel some type of way. Judgment, condemnation, guilt, discrete logic, sarcasm, condemnation, condescension, and you have your wife in a position where she's telling you, is that not true? If they ask you a question like this, if you ask you a question like, if you live alone, Would you clean your house? That question has only two possible answers to it. You've been cornered by your woman, supposed to be your woman. Anybody you're having conversation with is your woman in that respect. And they corner you into a spot where you are trying to do the shalaye and you are cornered with a yes or a no. First of all, you should be able to say either a yes or a no before you do any kind of explanations. If you have to do explanation before yes or no, that will be a telltale sign of manipulation, controlling behavior. And guess what she does with it? She's going to multiply it. Did you get the gist? You get it? You get it? No? Anybody get that?
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it.
All right.
She has nothing to multiply. You have to provide something to multiply. Worst case scenario, somebody said, are you telling me that women cannot be bad too? Oh yeah. Have you ever heard what they call a tilbury? Is that a question? Or maybe you have something you want to tell me in your mind already? Tell me. Just go ahead. And tell me. Are you telling me that women cannot be bad? It looks like you didn't listen to everything I said before. It looks like you didn't listen. You just want to play the victim. You just want to be a victim. It's not going to work.
Not be juju be that.
Could it work? If you're in a relationship with a woman and you want to play the victim, if it's that bad, call the police. I told you before. If it's not that bad, if we're talking about the emotional dynamics between you and her, she only gets what you give to multiply. That's it. That's all she's got. So you have to trace your step backwards. If somebody asks you and say, why do you think helping your wife around the house is a big deal? You have to trace your step backwards and say, what did I say that warranted that question? What did I say? All right, so all I said is I don't cheat. I don't steal. I don't lie. I help you wash butter. I help you take care of the kids. I even let you talk on the phone with TikTok strangers for 2-3 hours in a row. Why can't you just? What else do you want from me? That's to give me respect. If I tell you don't pop money gun, don't pop money gun. That's it. Simple. ABC. Shikena, right? Why can't you slow down and say, what did I say? Okay, in between what I said. See, if you take the time to assess that and to break that down, I guarantee you there's something you will learn. Maybe it's not what I'm saying right now. Maybe it's not all this nonsense that Ola is saying right now. But you will learn one or two things, most importantly, about yourself in that process. You know what most modern men are struggling with? They're struggling with not comparing themselves to women. They have this urge. They have a tendency to say, what about her? I mean, that man said, what if it was me that I was trying to correct my wife? I mean, what if it was me that my wife is trying to correct me and I don't listen? You know what they told her? Anybody guess? Let's engage real quick. Let's engage. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Turn up your notifications. I got some other reactions to do. Let's hit the like button. What do you think they said? The guy asked the ladies, the first guy, the Lord guy, said, what if it was me that my wife is correcting me and I don't listen? What do you think the woman said? Think about it. Think about it. While we're doing that, let me see. Let me see here.
Ọ̀padà sí Ìwó. Ó wá di on the 17th. Bàbá yẹn ṣáà olùkọ́ bàbá yẹn ò gòfẹ́ kóun lọ lọ́jọ́ yẹn. Ìpè but ìpè oríṣiríṣi ọ̀rọ̀ ló ṣáà sọ pé kíní kan mú òun lọ́wọ́, kíní kan gún òun lọ́wọ́, pé òun fẹ́ kó dúró tó òun kíní kan. Pé ọ̀rẹ́ òun ṣáà sọ pé kó jẹ́ káwọn máa lọ, kó jẹ́ káwọn máa lọ bí the first time táwọn kọ́kọ́.
I didn't understand your word. Sorry. Let's go to X. Question. I'm asking you guys a question. What do you think? What do you think they said? I'll leave the answer hanging. They said they called the police for her. The lady said, no, she should have slapped you. They said, no, if your woman is correcting you and you don't listen, what the guy was asking questions. He was doing what women might typically do in that kind of conversation, right? He was trying to do whataboutism. What if I was the one that she was trying to correct and she doesn't answer? After I brought her to America, I bet she brought me to America and we used to respect ourselves in Nigeria. You know, this is about Japan marriages at the end of the day. They said she should slap you. That's what you get when you do too much shalaye. You're never going to get anywhere. You need to spend some time with yourself and understand how these things work. And most people are not able to do that. They would rather push their rhetoric down other people's throats. Yes, Chidwa said they called the police for her. Nonsense. As if his wife has a voice. He said, no, the woman should slap you. Since we're playing tit for tat. Right? It is your responsibility, ultimately. If a woman called the police on you, you need to be accountable. How? What does that mean? It's not the same thing as blame. It just means you need to trace your step backwards and see where did you go wrong. That's all it means. Apparently, Tyrese isn't having to pay child support for one of his daughters who just turned 18. Lastly, apparently he gave her his mansion. Apparently is recently being reunited with daughter. Tyrese go do all right. Oh God. You know what fun thing about that story? Tyrese goes to collect because he thinks just because he thought the issue was the 18 years old or below. The issue is much more deeper than any of the touchables or the tangibles. I have a problem with the language helping your wife around the house. That was what I said that was triggering. When I said help you, the phrase help you is triggering. Okay. The reality is that my wife does feel that I help her if I help her in that thing, but it's really more of the feeling that it's about the thing. When people come on this internet and argue about this, that they think it's about the shores, as opposed to my wife feels safe, secure with me. She all the gender roles that everybody is saying they don't want. She loves it. In fact, she hates when I enter her kitchen. So that conversation that everybody's having on the internet, there's some people that just can relate, right? So the reality is also that if my wife was able to chime in a couple of $100 on a bill, on a major bill in my household, right? I see that as she's helping me. I don't ask the question, why do you think you're helping me? No, she helped me. I don't have any arguments around that. That's just the reality of the world we live in. Some people might do something else in their household. As long as there's agreement between them, that works for them. The principle is the agreement, not the thing that everybody's pointing fingers at. If you can agree, then boom, you have what you have, you know? That's the problem with a lot of people, right? So do you live there or are you visitors? I don't understand. The thing is that if a man is saying that, he hasn't spent the time to say, hey, if I could say that to my wife, I would never jump on the internet and say I'm helping my wife in the kitchen, because I've listened long enough to this conversation. Maybe most of them are not content creators like myself, so they don't know that they're about to enter one chance when they say things like that. But at least I'll listen when I enter a room, right? If people are having a conversation, right? And also I wouldn't be pandering to a bunch of strange women and telling them that I help my wife. Why do I need to get their validation for that? You know, I'll tell you why. Maybe because I don't really feel solid in the situation that I have going on. Maybe I don't feel secure all the way. Maybe somebody says something that actually triggered me. Nobody's engaging conversations where they are not experiencing some form of trigger. The trigger could be just a simple interest in the conversation, right? But there's an interest, right? And why is the interest? Because something you can relate with, maybe secondhand, but something you can relate with, right? Blossom D says, I will tell him till I hear from the wife. Wala. Yes, I've been wondering why you haven't clipped the soundbite for Tyrese. I know, I gotta find it. Chidima says, honestly, whataboutism is so unattractive in men. It's not something that men should do. Okay, that tells you that man is living in his feminine energy and he's only responding to you, he's following you, and most women are not attracted to a man who is following them. Most women are not attracted to a man who is saying it's a partnership. It doesn't matter how many women say it's partnership on the internet. Most women are not attracted to a man who is going to go on, this is partnership. Most women are attracted to a man who demonstrates leadership, not talking it, demonstrates leadership. That's what they're attracted to. Partnership is a default. It's not something you have to help. Once you collaborate with another human being to do anything, to achieve anything, that's the definition, it's called partnership. That's called partnership. So there's nothing to argue back and forth about if it's partnership or leadership. But I'll tell you what women are looking for, even when they can't admit it: leadership. How do I know? Why are they all over the place in church? Because the leadership is lacking at home. So if they can't find it at home, they go find it in church or somewhere like that. Sometimes they'll go find it from their friends. Okay, and that's what it is. It's just what it is, you know. But they're looking for, particularly, they're looking for safety and security. And no, I'm not talking financial this age. For an average woman, most average women are never going to find Dangote to marry. So that's not what we're talking about. Most average women are going to settle, not settle for less, settle down with a person who is not Dangote. That's the reality. And that's a beautiful thing there too. So the conversation just get mixed up in a bunch of nonsense. The conversation about respect, well, most women, they when there's money involved, the respect will change definitions, will change spectrums. Yes, it will. That's also reality. It's not the money, it's the safety that looks like short term. The same woman will come back and tell you, say, these rich men are narcissists. All you have to do is wait for it. Doesn't mean all rich people are narcissists. No, that's not the point I was making. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. So let's go to the other gentleman. Let's dissect some of his videos. Somebody please be helping me count. His name is X on TikTok, and he'll be sharing some. I'll see if I agree with him or not. Let's see this first video. Shout out to
Do
X
you
again.
know the reason why
Let
many
me
people are
unmute this
divorced
guy right
today?
here. Unmute.
You may say it's because of cheating.
Let me close this
You may
down.
say because of deception. You may think it's because of...
All right, let's go back and start from the beginning. The first video. So this is me reacting to X. Let me make sure. I'll give him the proper credit. Let's listen to this first video, okay?
Do you know the reason why many people are divorced today?
The
You may say it's
reason
because
why
of
many
cheating.
people are divorced.
You may say because of deception. You may think it's because of the man cannot provide leadership. Yeah, you may be right. You may say we've outgrown each other. They are all right. But can I tell you the major reason why many people are divorced today? They are divorced because they know their rights so much. See, when you know your rights so much, you want your opinion to be heard all the time. You want your voice to be heard all the time. You begin to say, we are in this together. You cannot take decisions without me. You begin to say, we came together for this marriage. We are partners. Many of us did all these things at work. You do know why many people have been in the same position for 6 to 7 years? No promotion, no pay rise. It's because they know their rights so much that they begin to challenge their managers. We've all done this and we've seen the effects. So whenever you're in a marriage, especially my beautiful sisters, and you now know your rights a lot, my dear, let me tell you, you may win the fight, but then lose the war. Marriage is a place where you need wisdom, where you need to be smart, where you don't need to win every war, where you need to compromise more. If that word compromise is not in your dictionary, you will fall out at some point. So my advice for you is try to compromise. People who know their rights a lot, they end up becoming single fathers and single mothers. I will encourage you to be smart. People who know their rights, they don't stay a lot in marriage. What do I know? Is marriage an achievement? I don't know. But people who know their rights, they get up, they end up getting divorced. Have a wonderful day.
All right. So, do you guys, if you agree with what he just said, put a 1 in the chat. If you disagree with what he just said, put a 2 in the chat. If you have context to add onto it, you're not too sure, but maybe you can have 1 or 2 to it, put a 3 in the chat. Let's get it. I'm waiting. Let's do it. I'm dropping also the link if you want to come up and chop it up with me. I've got some more clips. Top reasons. Okay, that should be top reasons. Or top, okay, that's fine. Top reason. So he's saying that the top reason is that you know you're right. That's really the point he's making. He kind of wrapped it up in a lot of condescending tone. That's okay. Let's just leave that one alone. Kemi says 3. Kemi, give me elaborate. What do you mean? What do you mean? Or what would you like to add on to what he said, right? While we're doing that, I'm going to read through some of the comments here. Someone said there is no war to lose. Marriage is a prison, sometimes where women bury their goals and dreams. Ouch. Damn. Somebody said, I joined your live last night for the first time. Now I'm seeing this post. So marriage is no longer a partnership. There you go. What then is it? And why should people live in ignorance and not know their right? Now, so again, marriage being a partnership is a default. There's nothing me and you learn from that. You're just telling me something I already know. The only problem with, because this guy tends to use a condescending, sarcastic tone, he will just tell you there's no partnership in marriage, and that confuses women, and that makes them stick around and continue to listen to him and stay confused. So then they will now come and tell me, well, it is just the truth. Why did I bring X up today that I'm talking today? Because a young lady who is a supporter, a big supporter of X, engaged me, and she was saying the guys speak the truth, but she's confused. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by truth? Define truth. She said she was just talking on the side of her mouth, basically insinuating that men are telling you the truth now. Just know that they are not nice people. They are not kind people. She did say those words, to be fair. But she wasn't direct, you know. But she was basically saying she's confused because the picture that X tend to paint is the picture of a traditional man who leads. It's either you take the leadership or you don't. Now, on these short videos, I don't think he says those things. When he's engaged in his live sessions, he tends to say those things. So it becomes very confusing. The same way that men are also confused when they are listening to women say, I want an Odogu Parana, but I want to do equal partnership. It confuses the shit out of them. So would you want me to still pay the bills? Yes. Would you want me to do equal partnership? Yes. It's confusing. Everybody's confusing themselves. You see what I'm saying? So Kemi says 3. Chinye says, I disagree. Tell me, all the disagreements, tell me why you disagree. Chidima says, not for him, apparently. He's right about compromise and not winning every fight. The work example spoiled it. He made valid points. He always makes work and corporate world because he's also he's told us on his platform that he's I think he's a MBA holder, so an engineering management, something similar to my own line, you know. So when he's trying to use the examples of the corporate world, I literally know where it's coming from. I know all the books, literally. So I'm like, bro, application. This application. So the context you're going to apply those rules to matters. So if you're going to bring anything corporate into this conversation, make sure you're considering the fact that human beings are emotional and they're not your employees who are expecting a paycheck on Friday. Those are two different contexts. But when you're up there too, and I respect people's platforms, he will interject you before you land the point, which I can respect because I interject too. So case in point. Compromise, absolutely. So one of the things that they tend to do is they will mix in the word like compromise, which we all agree to. They will sandwich the truth with, they will sandwich things that we all know to be truth with something that will just trigger you. But the reality that plays out in your marriage, in your relationships, are those triggers, the emotional triggers. That's really what we need to work on. The fact that I have 5 fingers is not something I have to argue with you so you can go and stay married. There's something else beyond pragmatic facts going on at an emotional level. So that's the part that they struggle with. So for example, compromise. Yeah, we can all agree. Everybody can, we call it give and take. Compromise, right? But how does that play out in real life? When a person that claims to love you is really start to make you feel some type of way, and you really want to say I hate you, but you don't want to say that because that's the mother of my kids, that's the father of my kids, but you feel how you feel. And that feeling is the driving force of your experience. All these words, all this experience, you are using Yankee language, experience, feeling. It is not me inside of your marriage, you. Are you trying to tell me something? You're right, I do use Yankee language and stuff like that, but clearly English is one of our problems. The mom of 5 says most men in the abroad know their right, but when they act and seek to use that right, some men will say, it's because I brought you abroad. See, here's the thing about knowing your right. Knowing your right, how can you advise people to not know their right? I know exactly what he's trying to say, and I'm going to get there in a second. If it's what I think he's trying to say, I agree with him, right? But know your right. How do you unknow your right? If I already know my right, how do I pretend like I don't know my right? Is that not unrealistic expectations? Right? So I have 2 reasons that I think the top 2 reasons are why people divorce. And it's not anybody's fault. It's not a matter of fault. It's just what happens when people don't learn. When people don't think they should invest in themselves and learn. It's just something that is a big, big struggle. The 2 things are unrealistic expectations and pride, ego. Those are the 2 things. Human beings on this internet especially, what I hear them express is that they're looking for perfection. They don't admit it, so that becomes another layer of problems. What I hear them express that they're looking for some level of perfection. No, not some level. Perfection, period. Right? So when you hear a little flaw or somebody has a difference of an idea of how you feel, as opposed to listening in, no, you can't tell me that. Or, who do you think you are? I have rights. I think that's what he's trying to say. You should have rights. You should know your rights. No, it's not you should. Once you know it. There's no need for you should in that. Once you know it, but what do you do with your rights? Right? Do you know the difference between rights and privilege? Right? When you're with a man who is doing his best, even though sometimes it feels like the best is not enough, are you able to look at another lens where you can see that as a privilege so you can help boost it, so that you can actually have more of the experience you're looking for? Can you comprehend everything I just said? Or it sounds like I'm trying to appease a person who is not competent? I don't know, right? All of that, how you interpret what I said, will be dependent on where you're coming from, right? But I'll tell you that something about winners. Winners tend to see things from a certain types of points of views, right? Winners are not losers who just decide they're just going to pretend and be optimistic. No, they just know that when they're optimistic, it tends to expand. When they focus on the positive, it tends to expand. When they focus on negative, it tends to expand. When they are pessimistic, they tend to perpetuate the experience that made them pessimistic in the first place. That's something that winners understand. And losers, they want to be pragmatic. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's tell ourselves the truth as we see it. I just said, never mind you and your feelings. Who cares about your feelings? They don't say that, but they are demonstrating it because they're telling you, shut your feelings off like you are firewood, right? And just stay in the marriage and do the dutiful thing. And then when the experience they're having perpetuates, they're wondering why. They're confused. So I think it's trying to say, do you right privilege, right? When you're in a marriage with a wife, right? My right, I have the right to demand respect. What does that sound like? That sounds like a weirdo. That sounds like an incompetent man. Is it right? I don't see that as right. Does that person see it as right? Yes. Does it equate to you're going to actually attract respect? No, it actually gets worse. So at what point are you going to say, hey, the way I move is not helping my destiny? Well, let's just remove her, dump her. Well, you're going to move your same you that attracted her to another relationship is going to show up in the same, actually most likely it'll show up in different form, but the same issue. So right, what do you do with right? You should know your right. If somebody, like I always tell you, if you don't feel safe, call the police. That's a right. Why? We're talking about life and death now. We're talking about you don't feel safe. We're talking about you can't even produce anything good anyway because you already feel on the edge in that relationship. Why not just call the police? If somebody is waving all kind of stuff in your face, like they look like they're about to throw something at you, why not just call the police so that they can go and rest for 3 days in jail, preferably Friday. Call on Friday so that the court is not open until Monday, so that they can have time to simmer and relax and know that it is not their right to assault another human being. See, that's a right, right? The right to know that it is not your right to assault another human being. How is that for a right? Now, back to what X was saying. Right and privilege. Do you see that you're privileged? You have an experience where you feel like you're in a relationship with the person and it doesn't feel like a privilege. Then there are issues that needs to be addressed. But if you enter that conversation where, well, something is my right, it will never be good. It will never be good because it's a romantic relationship. That's how it started. You find yourself in a place where you need to protect yourself. So now you're heading in the direction of spelling out what your rights are. And the other person's like, right, I'm the husband. The best thing you can create with that conversation is confusion. That's the best thing. Let me come to the chat. He made some good points. Let me start from the, okay. Kemi said three, because in my opinion, I believe one should choose their battle and not try to win every argument. Absolutely. That's the point we're making, right? All the time. However, if a partner is being diplomatic all the time to keep avoiding argument, is dangerous. Yes, it's extreme. It's an extreme end. It's always sweeter in the middle. What you're looking for is some type of balance. That's what you're looking for. It's a dance. You're not looking for extremes, right? So being diplomatic all the time is not going to help. You have to be able to say, hey, babe, no, we don't want to do it that way. Okay, all right, let me think about it. No, but I disagree. No. There's no reason why you can't have such conversations without escalating it to almost looking like you're about to throw something at the person. But people don't know when to stop. In the middle of that conversation, guess what all of them are saying? My right, my right, my right. I think that's the point that X was trying to make. He made some good points, but spoiled it with his poison. Poison will mess up everything, right? You need small poison to destroy everything. Yes, absolutely. Yes, marriage is a partnership where the man should be the leader, but the need to carry your wife along in your decisions. You can't just always be taking decisions without her in mind because no one knows it all. It's actually shooting yourself on the legs if you're doing that. Okay? It's like you were in my mind. Because there's some things I'm like, hey, I'm not able to manage this thing well. I think I'm just going to have her take over. All right? So you're absolutely right. Let's see here. There are things that your wife can give you a suggestion. Everything. In my opinion, I want my wife's suggestions on everything. I want my wife's suggestion on everything. And I don't like comparing it necessarily to a chairman versus the CEO. I don't like that. I don't like that because that sounds lame to me. You know, it's a romantic relationship. We're one. We're literally one. Not physically. Just literally one. I need to rub minds. What do you think about this? Because I have blind spots. It's a pragmatic thing to do. It is the logical thing to do. Everything else is emotional. Give you a suggestion that will take your decision to the highest heights. It's insights. You get insights. Everybody wants insights. Everybody who cares about building should be willing to gather insights from as many, let's use their language now, data sets, diversity of data sets as you want. Why? Because it opens up the nyash of blind spots. It protects you, right? So when you're dealing with a man who doesn't understand this, you probably need another man to explain it to them. Okay? You probably need another man to explain it to them. Because that is a thing. Yes, that is a thing. They would rather listen to another man than to you. It is a thing. Welcome to the real world. All right. Whenever you give a work analogy for marriage, you have completely lost me because the solutions are parallel. Yeah, because there's no paycheck, man. Even if you give me allowances every Friday, like, then you're gonna put yourself in a position where you say, well, isn't that your responsibility? And then that will gaslight you even more. Right? Isn't that what a man is supposed to be? Yeah, women will say that in the same breath. They will be saying they want equality. Confusion. Shut your feelings off, but allow me to have mine. Problems. The mom of 5, you're not going live today. I mean, it's because of me. I know you're not doing it because of me, but good to see you. See, me, I asked for my right to, and I was labeled delusional. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's, you don't want, the result is what you should pay attention to, right? All of us have been in that position where we ask for our rights. In a romantic relationship, it doesn't pan out well. It just triggers the other person. It puts that other person in a position of defense. You put them in a position where they either feel less than, or they just feel less than. They feel like they're not enough for you, and they will react emotionally as opposed to react to, wait, right? Do you actually have a right? You know how you ask, you go in front of a human rights office, you ask for your rights, they let you wave flag, like in a regular word, right? I said regular word, but you're doing like this. I've got my placard, right? It's our right. It's our right, right? They'll let you do your thing. In Nigeria, in fact, they will tear gas you if you're not serious. But here, they'll let you do your thing as long as, you know, as long as you're not damaging properties or people, right? They'll let you do your thing, right? But guess what? Even in that situation, guess what they do? They know you get tired, you go home. But they are paying attention because they don't want to go out of hand, because it can create civil unrest, right? But they're paying attention. So a protesting in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, you need special skills for that. It's high time we stop thinking that it is automatic. Just because you know how to fall on a bula, fall inside of a kwekus, you think suddenly you have the skills to be in a relationship. No, things are changing. It's high time we start paying attention to that. Maybe there's something we can learn about that. Because even in the corporate world, they are now teaching emotional intelligence. Just so you know. How do I know? Why? Well, because there's that person in the next cubicle who just can't, who's just annoying. And sometimes it's not as simple as, let's just call my right. Sometimes if they deem you the problematic one, they'll fire your ass. And you'll be like, it's not fair. It's because of the color of my skin. I'm not saying color of my skin don't cause it, but I'm just telling you, they are now teaching emotional intelligence, even in the corporate world. Let's move on to another one. I think we should do another one. Don't you think? Let's do another video. But I'm going to put a demarcation here just in case I want to cut it up later. I'll be right back.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
All right, let's see if we can capture one or two more of them. I don't know. So I agree on that one. I think majority of our problems is English language. Let's look at this one right here. This one. Here you go.
This is why many people are not married. Male, females.
One of the reasons why people are not married, male, females, is male, females, so no gender warrior. Let's continue.
Is because they have these high standards. Unfortunately, people overvalue themselves. People overestimate their value. People most times see themselves as the top 20% men and the top 20% women. You know, the top 20% women are looking for the top 10% men. The top 20% women are looking for the, top 30% women. But the reality is that in as much as you put yourself as a top 20% person,
I hope that
your
music doesn't
valuation
flag this
of
video.
yourself means absolutely nothing. There's a popular strategist that we use in the book of or in the world of strategy. His name is Bowman. Bowman argued that the price a customer is willing to pay for a commodity is dependent on the customer's valuation of the cost of the quality of that product. The price a customer is willing to pay for a commodity.
Let's hope that music doesn't flag my video.
On the customer's perception of the value of that commodity.
Commodity.
So a client can put.
Wait, who else feels gaslit already with that commodity? With that commodity of a thing. Problems.
You doing what?
Who is a commodity here? You're a commodity. The price of a commodity. All right.
Oh, you're right.
It's goods at £100. But unless the customer values that good at £100, there will be no transaction. There will be no purchase. And this also goes to real life.
The only problem is that there's still transaction. People are having sex. Oh my God. There's transaction left and right. They are angry. They don't want to be with each other anymore, but they're having sex. Let's continue. Yes, in church too. Not in my church. Are you okay? In your church.
Many people have.
Even your pastor. Yeah, your married pastor.
Passed their husbands and their wives so many times on earth. But the problem is that they don't see these people as their standard. They have overvalued their importance, their worth to be among the top 10%, top 20% people.
So what would be the ideal solution in this conversation? What would be the ideal solution? Because the problem that he's spelling out is overvaluing yourself. What does that even mean? I'll read some of the comments too. Let's keep going.
And they're looking at people at that level. But the problem is that the people at that level do not see them as top 20% people. They see them as maybe bottom 40% people. And these are not the people they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why many ladies, many young men are not married. Like I said, many people who are not married today have interacted or had encounters with their actual people who were supposed to be their husbands or wives. But the problem is their overestimation of their own value.
So again, what's the solution here? So somebody walks up to me, I'm not feeling them. X is trying to tell me that it's probably because I'm overvaluing myself.
You doing what?
All right. Let's continue. He's still making his point. Let's see.
Therefore, while you overvalue yourself, there's nothing wrong with giving yourself a high standard. Also be realistic with yourself.
Okay, wait. So there's nothing wrong with giving myself standard. So somehow being realistic is going to enter that conversation, and it's not going to negate the previous sentence. I mean, help me. I'm trying to think it through. I don't know. So I should give myself standard, but I'm a human being. I'm not a commodity. First of all, I'm a human being. I'm not a commodity. That means there's emotions. That means there's 45 years of history before now. That means there's self-esteem issues. That means there's self-identity things. That means there's preferences. That means I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to. It's not, I didn't decide it. It's just I'm attracted or I'm not attracted, right? And that can change because it's attraction, right? Because that can change, that can evolve, right? Or devolve, whatever you want to call it. But somehow I should bring reality into it. Wait, I thought that was reality, I thought everything before that was reality. But I should be more realistic. What's the baseline? Because if you're going to measure something on any kind of yardstick, there will be some kind of baseline that I'm measuring against, even if I want to bring the exact science thing into it, right? What's the baseline here? And how do I choose my baseline? Am I choosing based on Copy or Tedola, Abi Dangote's daughter, or I'm choosing it based on somebody in our village that really don't give a shit about who Copy or Tedola is? How am I measuring? I mean, we're trying to make this thing to an exact science thing, numbers, right? Let's use, comparisons from corporate world, commodity, value, right? Is there any kind of difference between value and value? Abi, is there market value or self-value, like in moral value, like stuff that my parents taught me at home that really doesn't pan out when it comes to the real market? He's trying to tell us something. I'm trying to get to it. Your standard may be why you are single. What should be my standard as a single person? Should be the next best question. And we're about 65% into the video. I haven't heard the answer yet.
Ask people questions.
Okay, ask people.
What do you? Where do you see me? What's your valuation of me?
Oh, okay, I should ask people to evaluate me and tell me what they think my value is in a romantic marketplace, in a sexual marketplace, right? That's the word they like to use, sexual marketplace.
What do you think I'm actually worth? Be real with yourself.
So I should go to people that are not going to buy me. They're not going to drink me as water. They're not my buyers. So just people, okay? Because my buyer would have just already been here and there won't be a need for this conversation. So now in the midst of me, maybe I'm 45 and single and never been married and I'm trying to figure this thing out. I should go and ask people what they think my value is. Never mind the therapist that said, just be yourself. That therapist Oyibo person, that's Oyibo people. Ask the Odogu Parana from the village and say, what do you see of me as value? Should I tone down my makeup? I mean, what is the issue here? Just ask people, a couple of people, maybe X might call it collecting data, something like that. You're gathering data, gathering of data.
Stop, shortening your, limiting your options. Each time you put this kind of valuation, unrealistic valuation on yourself.
Unrealistic valuation, because I'm a human being, I'm thinking it. I have a over-bloated sense of value of myself. That sounds like some narcissistic thing to do. So I think I'm the shit. I think my shit don't stink, basically. I need somebody to tell me that my shit stinks so I can find a wife or a husband. Great.
You scare away all the people who are actually within your bracket.
Intimidation.
So I'm going to stop it here.
You scare away all the people that couldn't handle you. So let me attract them for now so that later on I'll show them my true color, who I am normally. And everybody go collect. Left and right.
You know what to do. Be realistic.
No, I don't know what to do. I'm single. I don't know. Okay, I should be realistic. Ask Uncle Parana, Uncle Odogu Parana to tell me.
With yourself. Your estimation of your value, your own perceived standard is nothing. It's just something that makes you feel good. Until somebody values you at that level, there will be no transaction. Be realistic with yourself. Ask your friends questions. Where do you see me? What do you think is my level?
So profound.
And open your eyes. If you have so many men of the same caliber coming around you, that is your valuation. Stop overestimating yourself.
Just stop. You know exactly what you're doing. Just stop right now, okay?
Stop limiting your chances.
Limiting your chances. You will be single for a long time.
Limiting your options. Be realistic. One love.
All right, one love to X. Oh, man. Where do we start from? I'm gonna leave I'm gonna shut this down. Let me go to the chat before I read. I'm gonna read their comments. So I want to see the comments that people said in that. Tonya, hello Tonya, good to see you, Tonya. I refuse to be triggered. Don't be triggered. Oh, na internet though. Nothing did you. Oh my God, his language is so wrong. Did he say people overvalue themselves? Yes, he said, Kemi said, I recently ended a dating relationship with a guy recently because his level of thinking was not my standard. The guy was kind of generous, but still his way of thinking just not it. Good for you, good for you, good for you. What happened? What did that do, Chinye? I was just reacting though. I need to do more reaction because it gives me my blood they flow when I hear those kind of things. If you guys get triggered, my blood is flowing because My overall assessment of what he said is oversimplification. Okay. Many people will relate to what he said. In fact, more than enough women will relate to what he said after they don't collect. They will now say, maybe he's right after all. They will not say he's telling the truth. It's not relevant if he's telling the truth or not. Okay. It's oversimplification of the actual reality of human beings in dating, relationship, or marriage. It's oversimplification. We're not commodities. Nobody is buying anybody. If anything, the closest thing to the truth is maybe the idea of transaction. But because we're human beings, the worst thing you can call a relationship engagement is transaction. That's the last thing we want to call it. Who feels good about... Well, if you're a real man, it's okay. Maybe you're just telling the truth. It's just transaction. Transaction is transaction. If that's what you call a real man, keep that, because I guarantee you probably won't last in a long-term relationship. Guaranteed. I'm not talking about X. I'm talking in anybody who buys into using such analogies. I would engage in dialogue, relevant conversation, and this guy was always insinuating I was very smart. I was baffled. Oh, like not smart, but smart ass, right? Like a smart with the ASS. Is that what he meant? Eventually told him we weren't compatible. He said I was trying to force breakup. Force breakup. It's about Jesus Christ. So sorry to hear that, Kemi, because I'm sure your time is life. I beg, did I limit my chances? No, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right, you know. But I definitely would need a lot more. See, my answer that I just gave you is also not that simple. Okay? That answer I just gave you right now, that it's a no, it's also not that simple. It's neither a yes or a no. Sometimes you guys have listened to too much nonsense on this internet, and that skews your judgment. And yes, it can be helpful when you talk to other people to help you recalibrate. Like, I'm not being crazy, but I'm telling you, if the way you truly feel is how you felt, that's always valid, and you must follow that first. It doesn't mean it has to be a permanent decision. At least you can ask other people, like, this is what happened. Am I overthinking? But if a person tends to call you a smart ass, if it's making you feel some type of way, you can have a conversation around it. If they don't get it, they don't get it. Depends on how much you invested in the situation, right? If you're so, there's a point you get to, you're so invested in the situation, you can't even just back out. It's not that easy to back out. So that's why I say it's all oversimplification. My answer is never going to be a yes or a no. We're human beings. Right? The answer, only you have the ultimate answer. Nobody can claim that they have the standard that you're supposed to be. No, they can't claim that. They can't claim that. Now we can truthfully. That's why I say it's oversimplification. Because some part of me might be agreeing with him, some part of me might be disagreeing with him. There's some things that you just you see across the board with some of the ladies on social media. You'll be like, this one. Nothing good. They're not going to get anything from this behavior, right? And we can be truthful about that. We can tell you some truth around that. Like, okay, that is unrealistic. Remember, I told you there are two real reasons. One of them is not your standard. If you set a standard for yourself, we just want to make sure that that standard is being set from a healthy place. We want to know what created the standard. What kind of socialization, what have you been exposed to? What kind of lifestyle are you living that fuel the standard that you set for yourself, right? That's more so of what I will be concerned about, not the standard. By the time you're setting a standard, if you call it a standard, you set it for yourself. That's like arguing with my destiny. I don't want to argue with your standard. And I don't. If you're able to set your standard lower because I see something to you, that is precisely low self-esteem. I wouldn't want you to set your standard lower because I said so. I would want you to keep working on yourself, because what we call standard is a moving target. It's something that's variable, that's changing from time to time, depending on where you are in life, depending on what you've been exposed to, the experiences you're having right now. And the reality is that when you're in love with a man, you let him get away with a lot of nonsense. That's really the reality. This will not be a conversation. If you're in love with a man, or if you're in love with a woman, you will let them slide. You give them passes. You give them, it's certain things that becomes a big deal when you don't really like a person will suddenly not be a big deal. So the answers are never yes or no, and I think more people are more attracted to yes or no type of rhetoric because they're looking for cookie cutter solution, easy, straight to the point solution, something I can just press a button and I'll get the result I'm looking for. People are lazy. People are lazy mentally. They don't want to do the very hard work of working on yourself. It's not hard, but it's hard. It's not something you can press a button and now you can come back and say, I've worked on myself. It's something you'll be doing for the rest of your life. You have to keep engaging self-development materials. If you keep doing that, you attract the right type of people. And if you attract the wrong type of people, you know when to tell them, no, we'll keep it moving. It just doesn't align, because you're also operating from a place of abundance mindset. The worst thing you can do, what it was suggesting, is to operate from a lack of abundance mindset, a scarcity mindset. That's what it was suggesting. That's ultimately what it was suggesting. And nothing good comes from that. It's not going to be good operating from that place. You always want to operate from a place of abundance mindset, because everybody wants to feel like you are abundant, like you can self-sustain. That's what they want. That's what they're attracted to in you. If you look like you're a peasant, if you look like you're a parasite, you're about to come into my world to eat my life up, that's not attractive. That's not sexy. I don't want to be a part of that. Right? It's not something that people say out loud. They just act it. They just act it. If somebody is draining, so what that looks like oftentimes is like energy draining. It's not, did you bring $2,000? Are you making $5,000 a year? It's none of that nonsense. All that nonsense, you know, you can lose it, you can gain it back. I'm talking about money right now. You can make money, you can lose money, you can get money back. But when you build yourself, there's no losing in that. You can't lose doing that. And that should be the thing that should be controlling what people call standard. Not, oh, I decided that if you don't ride a Lamborghini. Why am I talking to a girl who says if you don't have a Lamborghini, I'm not going to be with you? Why is that part of my conversation? I'm not going to change her mind. That's her standard. So we bring that conversation into regular people who say, hey, you have to make 6 figure. I'm making 6 figure. Oftentimes when women say you have to make 6 figure, I take that with a pinch of salt. I will have to listen to other things that she say to align for me to say, okay, this one is materialistic. But just 6 figure is nothing. It's nothing. Okay. So this is what, in terms of telling ourselves the truth, this is what Apostle Lazarus said earlier on today. Listen to this. Listen.
Who deserve to be single all their lives. The Bible said it is better to dwell in the corner of a house than to be with a contentious woman. This girl has no capacity for peace. Trouble, fire, everywhere, born. No respect, no regard, nothing. And they believe if I can weave my wigs like this, I will get a man. You will get a foolish one. Now, checking it. You know what she say? This is all I've got. That's all my assets. Front and back. Nothing here.
Jesus. Lord have mercy. Shout out to Apostle Lazarus. Now back to some of the comments. I want to read some of the comments in X post. Yes, Leech Israel. Babe says, oh lagbara o, kilagbe kilaju. Wala. Goodness. As a lady, have a good and reasonable standard and stick to it. Don't allow any man or woman talk you out of it. Yes, it might make you not marry so fast because average men these days don't like women. Here's my concern. She's right, but here's my concern. What you say carries only so much weight. Where are you spending your time? What kind of stuff have you been feeding your brain? That's going to have much more power on you, right, than what you say out like this on the comment section somewhere. Okay. The reality is that if you listen long enough to people telling you to lower your standard, you will start questioning yourself. Why? Because you're a human being. And you're feeding your brain with that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean there's no point to some of the things he's saying, but I just think it's oversimplification of the actual reality. The reality is that you're single. And if you don't know how to celebrate the status you have right now today, you probably don't deserve anything else. Okay? If you think that's a curse that you're single today, I don't think you deserve to do anything else, because you're probably going to go replicate the same experience. The label, the only thing that will change is the label, and another person's child will collect for no reason. Work on yourself in your status today. That will drive whatever standard means. Okay? That will attract the right type of people to you. It is a natural to attract people that align. Okay, people that when you attract them, it creates sexual polarity. It's a natural, it's not stuff you have to force. If you have to force it, you're going to have people that will prescribe forceful measures for you. It still won't work. You can't flip from one extreme to the other extreme. It's not going to work. Okay? You can't force anything that involves another human being. You can't force it. You have to operate from a place of attraction, seduction and attraction. And how do you do that? Make sure you're bringing value to the table, not money, not the answer to the question, what do you bring to the table? I'm talking about the value you're instilling in yourself, always working on yourself from a mental, emotional standpoint. That's all you need to ever work on. You never need to look at something. Okay, I used to ask for Lamborghini, so I need to lower it to under. That's lame stuff. That's just lame stuff. Okay, that's the surface level of that conversation, and you're not going to get anything good out of that. Somebody said, ladies, keep your standards high. A man will never drop his standards. Men do drop their standards, and it's sad when they do. The standard, again, has nothing to do with somebody's looks, has to do with how much money somebody makes. It has nothing to do with that, you know. But you know that there's no alignment between you and a person. But because somebody has been preaching fear to you over and over, you chose to say, okay, maybe mine is too much too. Wrong angle, wrong leverage point, wrong tactic. Because you are still going to be you. You can change yourself. You can change who you are, but you're going to be you. You know what? Truth is undefeated. We're trying to define truth in the beginning, right? The truth is undefeated. It's a function of time. It's a function of patience. It's something that you have to just live, work on yourself, and let things pan out. Let things play out. Continue to refine yourself as you move along. And the truth is what happens on that last breath you take. That will be the truth. Everything that everybody else is telling you, they're talking about their feelings. That's all it is. And they're trying to shove their feelings down your throat. Somebody said, true for me. It's why I'm single and I'm 100% okay with it. That's like Pascal. Somebody said, I like the example you gave. How people put a price on their goods and people who don't see the value won't buy it. This person is about... This person is I can smell it. It's not going to be good. Let me say. You forget that people who know the value of those goods will still purchase it. Problems. She's right. She's right. The same thing applies to choosing a life partner. You place your standard and people who know your value will meet up to the standard. No, don't place standard. Work on yourself. Continue to improve your intrinsic value. The intrinsic value is something internal. It's not some bullshit materialistic anything. If you're living a certain type of lifestyle, obviously it makes sense to make sure people align with your lifestyle. Don't go and bring somebody from the village and then try to force them to be what they're not. It's nothing against people in the village. It's just common sense. Okay, common sense, terrible guide. I know. Someone said, I will keep my standards high. Someone said, high standards protect you. Overvalue yourself. Oh, human beings are not worth the risk. This woman they like arguments, you know. It's funny how when we want to buy clothes, food, or even a wig, we make sure they are very good, fit perfectly, and have values, even though these things are for a short while. But when it comes to choosing someone you are expected to spend the rest of your life with as the virtue of marriage, we're expected to undervalue our choices. Yet, you wonder why the cases of divorce are high. That's a good point. I couldn't have said that any better. That is how they keep us under their control while they move. You see, the they is problematic. That's a red flag. Any people who say they, you're a red flag yourself. You need to understand that there are men that don't think this way. And if you find yourself around men who think this way all the time, that's you still. Sorry, it's you. So work on your circle. Work on your circle. Ask that part. You can ask somebody, why do I keep attracting? There are 8 billion people around here. Why would you think that only the men you're attracting is the only men available? That's still you, right? Exactly. The customer that truly need the item and knows its value. But somebody said, but it's high percentage of men that think that way. How many men do you need? You need only one. Okay, and it's still your circle. Sorry. Marriage is not a do or die affair, sir. I saw one of your video the other, a lady was struggling to answer your questions. What can she do to assist the husband? My dear, a woman has his qualities as a man. Okay. Why do all individuals must marry? Is that not a brainwashing idea? Voila. Most times it is not even standards, it's unrealistic tastes or preferences. We can talk about unrealistic expectations. Preferences, I don't think a lot of people really, when people talk about preferences, people bend their preferences all the time when they find something that it's just not what they thought it could be. Like, oh, I never thought I could be with a light-skinned man. Oh, now you're with one. That's the reality of what happens a lot of times. Okay? So people can talk about the preferences all day long. It has nothing to do with what they settle down with. And settling down doesn't always equal to settle for less. All right? They just happen to have seen value where they least expected it before, right? I've seen... All right, let's continue here. The market decides the value of anything. Yeah, it is still true, by the way. It's just that you're leaving out a major variable: human emotions. The market decides the value of anything. The point is, be worth your value. That's a good point. But what's the value and what's the worth? It's still confusion. Still confusion. If you have a high standard, you should also match your own standard. That's nonsense. Who is measuring it? Is there studies in a laboratory somewhere? Again, it sounds good on the surface. It's nonsense. I'm telling you right now, all this stuff that sounds good on the surface is nonsense. So should we drop our standards? Me, I cannot drop mine. Because that's what's the video suggesting. Drop your standard. How? Talk to a person. Someone said marriage is about choice, but where we find love and feel loved by someone should be who to get married to. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. So I guess so much these days. Somebody said overvaluing is a major disease. It's a bros who is saying that. Why is it that the men are the ones who tend to say this? Men, are you undervaluing yourself, gentlemen? Is that what's going on here? Are you undervaluing yourself? That could be a major reason for your dilemma. You're undervaluing yourself. You're lowering your standards. Overvaluing is a major disease these days. Best to stay humble and realistic. What is that? I do think you should be humble. Okay, realistic. What do you mean by that? I'm not saying you shouldn't be realistic, but what do you mean by that? How are you measuring it? Is it by talking to aunties and uncles who lived their own life in the 1960s and grew up in the 70s? Is that what you're talking about? Because that's unrealistic expectations, and I think that is a major top reason for divorces. Wisdom is profitable to direct. Indeed, you have a point. All right, I'll give him a like. X, I disagree with this one. So, I've proven my point today. I agree with him 50% of the time. I disagree with him 50% of the time. I think that's the point I was trying to make. My samples were too small. Maybe I should have done more videos. I will see if you guys like it. I will react to more of his videos later on. Because these are definitely conversations that men are having in their head, and they're not realizing that it's not that they're necessarily wrong, but the applications are wrong, right? They're oversimplifying very complex issues, and then that multiplies the complexity by 10,000 times. By oversimplifying complex issue, the complexity skyrockets, right? It becomes something you can't undo. You become a woman, essentially, and you run around the internet complaining. Sorry, oh. What are we measuring? Osumio, when it's not clothes. Opa meta, opa yadi meta. Meloni jale. Anyway, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. I appreciate you guys for being here today. I did how long today? Oh, I'm doing well though. How many minutes? Oh, perfect. All right, guys, take care. God bless. Peace.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.